Each Man's Son, written by Hugh Maclennan, published by McGill Queen's University Press, read by Billy Maclellan. Except a corn of wheat fall into the ground and die, it abideth alone. But if it die, it bringeth forth much fruit. For my sister, Frances Annie Stewart Maclennan. Author's Note. Continents are much alike, and a man can no more love a continent than he can love 100 million people. But all the islands of the world are different. They are small enough to be known, they are vulnerable, and men come to feel about them as they do about women. Many men have loved the island of Cape Breton, and a few may have hated her. Ericsson was probably the first to see her. Cabot landed on her, and after Cabot came the French. She seemed harsh and frigid to the first-comers, but the moment the French saw her, their imaginations were touched, and they called her the Royal Isle. After a while, they built on her eastern rim the master fortress of Louisbourg to dominate Nova Scotia and guard the St. Lawrence. When the wars began, the English and the New Englanders came up to Cape Breton, and for a time she was as famous as Gibraltar. Louisbourg fell, the French were driven out, the English and Americans went home, and for a third of a century the island was vacant again. Then across the ocean, in the Highlands of Scotland, a desperate and poetic people heard of her. They were a race of hunters, shepherds, and warriors who had discovered too late that their own courage and pride had led them to catastrophe, since it enabled them to resist the Saxon civilization so long. They had come to the end of the 18th century knowing nothing of the foreman, the boss, the politician, the policeman, the merchant, or the buyer and seller of other men's work. When the English set out to destroy the clans of Scotland, the most independent of the Highlanders left their homes with the pipes playing laments on the decks of their ships. They crossed the ocean, and the pipes played again when they waded ashore on the rocky coast of Cape Breton Island. There they rooted themselves. Big men from the red-haired parts of the Scottish Main, and dark-haired smaller men from the Hebrides, women from the mainland with strong bones and Hebridean women with delicate skins, accepting eyes and a musical sadness in their speech. For a long time nothing but Gaelic was spoken in the island until they gradually learned English from the handful of New England loyalists who came to Nova Scotia after the American Revolution. To Cape Breton the Highlanders brought more than the quixotic gallantry and softness of manner belonging to a Homeric people. They also brought with them an ancient curse, intensified by John Calvin and branded upon their souls by John Knox and his successors. The belief that man has inherited from Adam a nature so sinful there is no hope for him, and that furthermore he lives and dies under the wrath of an arbitrary God who will forgive only a handful of his elect on the day of judgment. As no normal human being can exist in constant awareness that he is sinful and doomed through no fault of his own, the Highlanders behaved outwardly as other men do who have softened the curse or forgotten its existence. But in Cape Breton, they were lonely. They were not part of the great outer world, so the curse remained alive with them like a somber beast growling behind an unlocked door. It was felt even when they were least conscious of it. To escape its cold breath some turned to drink, and others to the pursuit of knowledge. Still others, as the Puritans of New England had done earlier, left their homes, and in doing so found wider opportunities in the United States or in the empty provinces of Western Canada. But if the curse of God rested on the Highlander souls, the beauty of God cherished the island where they lived. Inland were high hills and a loch running in from the sea that looked like a sleeve of gold in the afternoon sun. There were trout and salmon streams lined by sweet-smelling alder, water meadows and valleys graced by elms as stately as those in the shires of southern England. The coast was
Sample complete. Ready to continue?